Hey, what's up? There's Bear in the Woods. And he's with Peter Pan at night. And they have to go upstairs. Yeah, I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
Welcome to game night. Lightning, thunder. My name is K.C'arl, Jaysen, Headley. Tonight we're talking about Mysterium by Libellud. It's being distributed by AsmOdee in the US. And the original name was not Mysterium. But in any case, it's a foreign game, but now it's translated to English. And it's basically kind of like Clue meets Dixit. I know a billion people have said that, but it really kind of is. Basically, there's this haunted mansion, and somebody purchases it, and they realize there's a ghost in there, and they want to get rid of the ghost. In order for the ghost to rest, they must figure out who the killer is. So he invites all these psychic, paranormal investigators, and each one of them have, a specialty like ancestry or numerology or necromancy or whatever it is, right? And so they're all invited here to come try to figure out who the killer of this ghost is. So, the game. There's going to be 2 to 7 players, and one of those players is going to be a ghost. Everybody else is one of the paranormal investigators, psychics. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the ghost side, which is behind this veil. And as a ghost, you're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to communicate except through these visions that you will be giving the players. Now, each column here is representative of a player. There's a blue, black, red in this example. And the first row are the suspects. Second row is location in which the person was killed. And the third tier here is the object in which the ghost was killed with. And they have to figure out which suspects they have. Does that make any sense? Each investigator has their own suspect, and they have to figure out who they are, basically. And it's up to the ghost to give them visions to try to figure out who's the suspect based on this card. Yeah, not so easy, right? So, they get these visions, and then they try to figure out what they match. Jaysen, you want to tell them more about the game on the other side? The dark side, the living side. Visions.
See, now there's a reason Mysterium is so popular, and there's so much reason we're talking about it, even though it just came out. It's because this game has been translated very many times in the past year since its first release, and everyone knows about it. See, it takes the idea of Dixit, where you're using these cards that someone gives you, and then you're looking at them and trying to decipher what the hell the person across the table is thinking. For example, let's say K.C'arl, as the ghost, gave me this card, which appears to have maybe donuts and pretzels on the street with electrical wires. And I'm supposed to guess, of these 5 suspects, which one is it based on this picture. You can see how this might become a problem, because suddenly, maybe K.C'arl saw the teacup in the picture, or maybe even worse, he saw the leaves in the back of the picture, and I'm looking at the yarn thinking, oh, well, maybe it has something to do with the color red, when really he meant that it was someone completely different. And the ghost isn't allowed to talk, so you and your fellow psychics are all arguing amongst yourselves as to which one it is and who it is. And I mean, this is a picture of like a weird dilapidated castle with red things, and God only knows which that one is. And as you guess correctly, because it really is a big guessing game, you move up this mansion. And the idea is that by the time you go from 1 round to 7 rounds, you've all gotten up here, and now you have to try and figure out who the actual culprit is, using hopefully 3, if you've been fortunate enough to get good guesses, 3 more cards, which help you decide who it is. If the vote's unanimous, or if there's a winner, then everybody wins. The ghost is trying to help you out. It's a team effort here. But if no one can decide or everybody votes wrong, you're out. And I think there's something really special to be said for the fact that the ghost is on your side. See, their job isn't to trick you. Their job is to be as blatantly obvious as possible. And as psychics, we really try to make it as difficult as possible, arguing amongst ourselves as to which one it really is, when, you know, maybe all we see in this picture that we think it is that skull in the background, but really all K.C'arl wanted us to see was that boot. It can be as simple or difficult as possible, and you are just on your own trying to figure it out in this mansion. So that's really it. It's a pretty simple game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very easy to teach and learn. I actually taught it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we didn't talk about was that when you play with more than two of us, there's a whole clairvoyance system where people are kind of voting on whether they think things are right or wrong, and they're moving up a track at the end, and that sort of determines how many cards they get to see at the end to be able to vote for who the actual culprit is. But even that is simple. The whole game is very simple.
Yep.
Yeah, but
the clairvoyance part of it is not in the other versions of the game. As far as I know, it's only in the American version. So there are some slight differences. The layout and how it's presented is different. The character cards are envelopes versus other versions. They're not envelopes, and the track, I guess if you want to call it, is actually on this board versus on the card in other versions. And like Jaysen said, these voting, clairvoyance type of token things are not in the original versions of the game. Neither is this timer. And also, the clock that shows the hours from 1 through 7, in other versions, it's a calendar, 7 days versus 7 hours. So I think those are the main differences. Yeah. And also, the other versions don't have that screen for the ghost.
Which is one of my favorite things, because it's just so big.
It's helpful, because otherwise they didn't have it, so they would have to buy like little card holder things to hold cards up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and so something I'll say right off the bat, we talked about this before with certain games, but there's something to be said for a game that gets you excited about playing it just by how it looks on the table. And, Izzy's getting involved. I think Mysterium is one of those games. Like, everything about this game, every bit of art, every polish, it all sets this great scene of this like haunted dark world and kind of old school Myst for the PC back in the day. Kind of has that feel, and it just really gets, like, you're instantly sucked into what's going on with this, from the characters to the actual, like, what are these called? Dreams? Visions. Everything about this game is just, the artwork is just so spot on, and I love that about it. I also love that there are no words. I love that there's no words on cards. I love that anybody could play this. It's super simple. You could play it with kids. You could play it with a family. You could play it with a group of adults. It's so freaking accessible. It may be one of the most accessible games that we actually own up to this point.
Yeah, and also earlier we were talking about how it's better in a sense than Dixit, in the sense in how it's similar. That it's better because it's not associated with the person that you know, where, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna relate this clue to this person because of who they are, and they would guess it. You don't know what characters are gonna be in play. You don't know who's gonna be playing, so it actually doesn't matter. Almost. I mean, it matters to an extent, but not as much as it does in Dixit, where if you keep playing with the same people in Dixit, you're gonna guess each other's answers all the time. Versus this, you might not. Yeah,
that was my big beef with Dixit, is that I feel like it gets old really, really fast, because once you have an inside joke with someone about a card, it's over. You have an inside joke about that card with someone. This feels like it could last a lot longer, because it's so much more about the game than it is about the personalities of the people sitting at the table.
Oh, I wanted to say, I think it'd be really cool if they did an expansion where the characters, who they have descriptions of why they're different and who they are, and how, you know, their clairvoyance, their psychic powers are completely different based on other, you know, type of philosophies or whatever it is. It'd be cool if they actually had abilities, powers, like Madame Wong, or whatever her name is. She does I Ching, and she can talk to ancestors, you know, so maybe she has an ability that has to do with the suspect. Yeah. I think that'd be a really cool expansion. And maybe some other characters that are maybe more modern. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, overall, though, I really, really like... I mean, we've been looking forward to this game for a long time, and it did not disappoint. It's really fun. I mean, it says something that we got done playing, and the first thing we wanted to do was play again. Like, we were just like, okay, let's play again, because it's fun, it's fast, it's simple enough, but it does require you to think and like really try to figure out what the other person is thinking. And spoiler alert, you're usually wrong. Like, you usually have no freaking clue what's going on. I like that it's within 7 days, because it gives it this nice, 7 hours, I'm sorry, really good sense of urgency. Like, I definitely thought to myself, I have to make the right decision this time or I'm done. Like,
and it happens so quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, you forget that when I was playing the Ghost, you kind of forget, you know, it's a cooperative game, you know, and you really don't want to mess people up. And some of these clues are just so, like, they're on a thin thread of how it connects to something. It's really kind of hard.
Yeah.
And it goes by really quick. Those 7 hours, the rounds go by really quick. You can finish this game in probably 42 minutes, which the box says.
Yeah, the box says it takes 42 minutes to play. I also like that it's a 7-player game. I think it's great to have games that are more players, especially games that are like this, that are so everybody can kind of dive in and get into their character and have a lot of fun with it.
You can even have more if you want to have like couples as teams, because it's a co-op game, so even though you play different characters, you can still discuss your choices with each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what do you think? Buy it, play it, pass it.
Buy it.
Absolutely
over
buy
Dixit.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely buy it. It's fantastic. It's everything that all the hype talks about. It is really fun. It is super polished. It's one of the most polished games I think I've purchased in a long time. Every piece of artwork, every card, every back of a card, every piece looks and feels great. Buy it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it'd be fun if you could try and make a story between the suspect, the location, and the weapons, though some of them are kind of crazy. Some of the weapons was like a stool or something.
I was really sad that a typewriter, there was a typewriter as weapon. I was like, God, I hope it's the typewriter, because how funny would that be? Someone trying to kill you with a typewriter.
And if you love Clue, you should definitely check
if you love Clue, if you love Dixit, if you want a game that mixes the two of them, if you're tired of playing those games, you want something completely new, this is the game for you. Yeah,
and people are saying you could add other cards as the Vision cards, like Dixit cards, or even other stuff that you can find.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really funny.
You know?
Like, add your whole... Go on a vacation, take a bunch of pictures, print them out, and make them cards for this game.
Add your kids' drawings or whatever.
Oh, yeah, have your kids draw cards, and then... Oh, my God, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be... Mommy can't
It'd be just as hard. It would just be as hard.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been Game Night. My name's Jaysen Headley. This is Carly. You can check us out online. We'll put some links to all of that down below. And make sure to check out our blogs and follow us everywhere. We're everywhere now, so follow us like crazy, and we'll see you next week.
Of course.
Next week. Oh, next week.
Next week.
Oh, perfect. All right. See you then. Oh, Vision.
That wasn't very clear.